There have been a decent number of graduations from Hololive and other corporations. Many are claiming that VTubing is dying, and VTubing is over, and that the company going public, or the way management is handling things, is the cause. Okay, it was for VShojo. I'm here to give you other more likely possibilities so you stop parroting each other. There are many reasons people move on from their corporation, and I covered most of these in The Death of a VTuber, and two of the largest reasons have probably been in relation to burnout or contractual differences relating to pay or workload. The largest thing I'd like you all to keep in mind is how we've been waiting for someone to graduate for a period of time now. 2023 was the tail end of the honeymoon phase of VTubing. It was the peak where the number of people joining and staying was at its most stable compared to the number of graduations. This is because VTubing was still in its infancy. There are more people jumping on than going on hiatus or quitting it entirely. The large creators we know and love had a handful of years on them, some more than others. Nothing out of the ordinary for the current average of a VTuber in a corporation. We lost a few of the original VTubers, but it was to be expected with the heavily changing landscape as we started to discover new ways to push the medium. One of those was streaming. At the beginning of 2024, we had a few graduations from older talents that increased as the year went on. When corporations have massive rosters, you cannot expect the talents to stay in the industry or the company forever. Creators move on. They change their style of content. They go different places and head in a different direction. Not everyone will stay at the same job forever. VTubers choose to announce their entrance and exit, resulting in a frequent event we often see in our feeds. I believe you should stop looking for someone to blame and understand that as time goes on, people move from company to company, from job to job. It is a good thing that someone chooses to move on from their past and explore new options. New content can be created, new skills learned, new perspectives, and maybe a better work environment. If we exclude Mono Aloe, who was wiped off the company roster, and Gura for reasons I'll discuss, the average Hololive talent graduates from the company after 1,344.25 days, which happens to coincide with the number of days Nanashi Mume was in Hololive, 1,344 days. Interesting coincidence, not important. That is over 3.5 years at the company. There are 40 talents who have roughly 4 or more years at the company, and 26 who have less than 4. If every single talent was to graduate this instant, that average would increase, especially with Tokino Sora, Roboko, Hoshimachi Suisei, and Sakuramiko completing over 7 years each. Azuki is almost at 7 years, and will hit that in November. This next part is not a measurement of someone's worth as a talent at the company. A talent can go on an extended break, hiatus, or slow down their activities and still be a great talent or creator. A lot of VTuber contracts require the talent to stream at least 3 times a week for a minimum of 2 hours. If someone is short on this requirement, then something is off. It could be school, family, health, and vacation related. Disclaimer: this is pure speculation based on a pattern we can currently observe and an exploration of possibility to provide a different angle on the recent graduations, instead of the only parroted thought from Twitter that cover deciding to go public led to the recent graduations. My goal is to achieve a logical explanation based on the events around Hololive as a company and a talent's content. This is what makes the most sense to me. It might not be the truth. Gura's graduation has been a long time coming, and many were expecting it much sooner. In 2023, she streamed to the public a total of 32 times. In 2024, she streamed 29 times. She has streamed 8 times at the announcement on April 16th, the same day the script was written and the frame of reference we will be using going forward. Gura received a 2.0 model, 15 streams, and a winter outfit, 9 streams before this announcement. Many people have obtained a new model just before graduating. However, Gura received that 2.0 model 7 months prior. If we remove the winter outfit stream, that's 2 streams a month. Compare this to 2022 when she streamed 110 times. It seems like she got burned out. If you are trying to factor in the unarchived karaoke, it is not significant enough in the last 2 years. She sang once to everyone and 3 times to members in 2023, then 2 times to everyone, 2 times to members in 2024. Tacking that onto her stream numbers does not adjust it much. She still streamed 1/10 of the year, and I would wager some of it was required due to a group event like EN Recollection. I say required because I would like to argue, and this is pure speculation, that Gura had graduated during her contract negotiations around her 2nd anniversary. There is a gap in streams between December 7th, 2022 and February 11th, 2023, where she could have graduated. Her first stream of the year was titled, I'm Back. We are not counting the Hololive Mario Kart Cup of 2023, where she did not stream, speak, or make an appearance. I suspect management had her account, or renamed their account and played for her running in a mid-bracket to avoid interviews, or Gura decided to throw. So why did she come back? For the next stream on February 17th, where she announced her merch milestone for 4 million subscribers. After that, her next stream was the official 3D showcase on March 2nd, followed by Our Bright Parade, Hololive's 4th Fest, on the 13th of March, 2023. By the end of 2023, she streamed, as mentioned earlier, 32 times. After a gap, she would usually hold a stream shortly before a sponsored or large event. I say could have graduated during the gap because this may have been when her contract was up for negotiations, and they could not release her back in September when she had a Sonic Frontier stream on November 14th, possibly an under-the-table sponsored stream for a game that just came out. They could not have announced her graduation around that time because it would have been negative PR for Sonic, so they had to push it off. Another reason they had to possibly push it off was for that official 3D showcase, delayed due to the unspecified virus that had placed a lockdown on Japan travel so hard that HoloMyth was not able to host one at the office. Ame scrapped one together. There is another gap after August. All streams seem management or contract mandated. We have the September anniversary streams and collaborations, a new outfit, nothing in October, and 1 stream on November 27th for the Sendai City Cultural and Tourism Board. Let's discuss why Cover wanted to keep her as a talent if she wanted to leave. Investors. Investors like numbers. Hololive had the world's first and largest corporate VTuber hitting 4 million subscribers who spoke English natively. You cannot beat that number even if someone had 10 million subscribers as a first non-English language only. English is global, with nearly 1.5 billion people compared to Mandarin's 1.2 billion speaking it in some form, including primary, secondary, or a number of words and phrases. Even some form of basic English is taught compared to any other language. And I know a lot of the comments are about to say otherwise. Someone else do a research paper for me. You speak to most of the world in English if people don't have the firmest grasp on it. Drop anyone off in Romania, Turkey, Hungary, Belgium, Lithuania, Turkmenistan, which I had no idea existed, Pakistan, or Thailand, and that person will be lucky to say hello in the native language. They could not afford to let Gura leave until someone came close, which brings us to January 2024. But before that, we're gonna go back to the past and talk about a few other talents. Kizuna Ai went on hiatus in February 2022, sliding into her cold folder with over 3 million subscribers, waiting for the day she can defrost, much like Mariah Carey. This presented the VTuber sphere with a new opportunity, a chance for others to stand out and grow, as there was a new VTuber time slot open and a bunch of fans who wanted to push a new brand and help it succeed. After her departure, a few Hololive and independent creators hit 2 million. Mori Calliope in March, the 2nd in the company and 3rd in the world. Hosho Marine on August 1st, the 3rd in the company and 6th in the world. Jellybean hit 4th place on April 5th, and Cookie Swirl C debuted at 5th with 19 million on April 15th. Usada Pekora on August 5th, the 4th in the company, and Shirakami Fubuki in October, the 5th in the company, 7th in the world. 4 of Hololive's talents reached a massive milestone, 3 of them around the time of Gura's negotiations. I suspect Cover noticed this and had a proposition for Gura. Hold out and we will pay you, as long as someone's growth is significant enough. Here's how I think the contract negotiations went and their result. First, Gura had a minimum number of streams to do on her own, and any sponsor-mandated streams. For every sponsored stream, she had to do one additional stream before it. If there was a model update, birthday, or anniversary, she was required to stream it. Second, if there was a specific group-focused event, she had to stream it. The biggest example being Ian Recollection and the English concerts. Third, she has to follow the company's minimum requirements for appearances at her own and others' concerts. There seems to be a minimum and maximum number of concerts talents must show up to for them to remain an idol. Some contracts are flexible, allowing people to negotiate their number of appearances, as Towa seems to want a lot, maybe even step in as a reserve in case someone else can't show up. Other talents have a max and require a decent lead in negotiating an appearance because everybody would love to perform with them. Fourth, and lastly, they would have to use her voice for specific events like being an ambassador for Holo City. Do this and get paid half of what you usually get with the same deal as before. You won't have to stream 3 times a week. You won't have to have a heavy social media presence. Do this and you can stay until you are tired or until someone else catches up. This was my suspicion and what made the most sense to me as I watched Marine hit 2.5 million in July of 2023. 9 months after Gura should have graduated, and 5 months after that small pause between December 7th and February 17th, giving Cover more data to convince the little shark to stay on board. Over time, a few other things helped convince her to hold on as contracts rolled around. Remember how I was saying that something had happened in January 2024? On January 10th, Marine hit 3 million. Hosho Marine was the 3rd corporate VTuber to achieve this. Gura achieved 3 million July 4th, 2021. I achieved 3 million December 6th, 2021, and I is still on break. As the year goes on, Marine has her 3D solo live, Ahoy, You're All Pirates, in the pipeline, and that gets fully announced in September for a venue size of 20,000. Nearly a month later, Marine hits 3.5 million on October 23rd, 2 months before the concert. By this point, Cover now has almost everything it needs to estimate when Marine will hit 4 million subscribers, and Gura's contract is in its negotiation phase. After some deliberation, and Marine's highly successful concert on December 7th, 2024, with the amazing merch that came with it, Cover was able to seal the deal, giving Gura a rough estimate on when she could announce her graduation. Many of you were there for it on April 15th, 2025. Do you know why they chose April? Did you look at someone's achievements before that announcement? You've seen it now, but you saw a few trees fall over and decided it was the end, when there were other trees right behind it, standing just as tall. I don't have a lot of Twitter followers, but you can see I predicted this. At the time of the announcement, Hosho Marine had 3.94 million subscribers. What's better after a graduation than a celebration for everyone to move on with? After that graduation, Marine hit 4 million, the second in the world for a corporate VTuber, something I has yet to achieve since returning. Hololive has the largest corporate VTuber in the world, and she still has 4 million subscribers. She fills in for Gura when they are in discussions with investors, but only slightly. Marine's numbers are not something to downplay, but as I mentioned earlier, she speaks strictly Japanese. Her branding can be a bit suggestive or provocative, affecting sponsored deals. Marine has mentioned on stream she was worried about the younger audience watching her, which affects her numbers. Even if she was wholesome like Korone, she speaks Japanese. Mori Calliope has taken the mantle as the largest EN corporate VTuber, and it's well deserved. She has 2.52 million subscribers, achieved back on January 12th, 2025. Mori has made a ton of music. She wants to be seen. She wants to make as much as she can before she's done. Mori has had 2 solo live concerts, one in Japan, one in America, and people love her despite how much I hear people detest her music. It'll be interesting in a few years to hear the opposite after people reflect and notice how good the music is. Cover Corp now holds a retired intellectual property at 4.5 million subscribers, an icon to the anime VTuber community at large for the English-speaking audience on YouTube, even if she wasn't the most prominent in the last 2 years. Gura inspired people. She was the reason many started their careers in VTubing. She set a record, reaching 1 million subscribers 37 days after debut, something unheard of at that time. It was only achieved once after with Salome, who achieved it in 13 days. Until recently, when an indie debuted and hit 1 million in 2 days, 17 hours. Hitting that number in a short period is hard to understand and accept, and Gura, who acknowledged this, had to consider how she would proceed. 3 months later, she hit 2 million subscribers, the second ever corporate VTuber to reach this, and that was a ton of pressure. I hope the exploration of her absence helped provide a new perspective, suggesting that Gura was done long before the company chose its new direction after going public. Let's theorize and try to explain what has led to the recent graduations. First, we will run over the graduations. Yozora Mel. Okay, that one was a joke. I missed the Bandpire and she was terminated at the top of 2024. Doesn't count. Graduations and voluntary leaves are the only thing we're going to be covering. Minato Aqua fully walked away from the company on August 28th, 2024, live streaming her graduation concert to 750,000 fans. This was when we started seeing difference in opinion with management. Amelia Watson ended her streaming activities and walked away as an affiliate on September 30th, 2024. Sakamata Chloe ended her streaming activities and walked away as an affiliate on January 26th, 2025. She left because she found something she wanted to do outside of Hololive, felt she didn't share with the direction of the company, and her health condition made it hard to cope with the workload. Saris Fauna left on January 3rd, 2025 due to differences with management. Murasaki Shion on April 26th, 2025 had a full graduation for mental health and differences in Hololive direction. Nanashi Mume on April 28, 2025 had a full graduation due to internal misalignments with the agency and chronic health issues. Let's pair these talents together in a series of factors that could explain their graduation. Minato Aqua announced her graduation 2 days before her debut anniversary, being an active talent for 6 years. Murasaki Shion was also at the company for 6 years, 8 months. Fauna, Chloe, and Mume were all at the company for 3 years. 2 of them are too sick to continue working, and 1 of them simply didn't agree with the direction of the company. This is where people started assuming going public was the reason for all the graduations. Before we go into the direction of the company, let's explore how well received something would be, and I want you to tell me in the comments how you feel about them. Instead of saying they didn't like the direction of the company, or having disagreements with management, what if instead they said, "I'm not having fun here. I don't want to be part of Hololive anymore. The workload has become too much. There are too many required performances, and I don't want to do as many. I don't like the cut the company takes and how I can be successful on my own. I am burned out on streaming and don't want to stream 3 times a week. I would rather stream at my own pace on my own free time. And lastly, I'm successful enough, I've lost most of my inspiration to create." Do you know how depressing some of this sounds? How many of you would start assuming the worst in Hololive? How many would start demanding to see a talent contract? How many of you would accuse another talent of getting by easy? This would divide the fanbase and ruin the community. They can't allow anyone to stream less because then it sets a standard, and from what we've seen, they are pretty lenient with it. The company has tried its best to be fair to its talents from what we know and have seen. A few in the company who have put in a ton of effort have mentioned on multiple occasions that you can trust in Hololive as long as they are with the company. Even Mori addressed this.
Whenever a talent says something like, disagreements with management and direction with the company and stuff like that, those aren't worries that I can assuage, because I am a person that likes the way that things are, which doesn't make my opinion any better or worse than theirs. What I will say is that it's never one thing. I can say that with confidence. Every single person has different experiences with the company, with Holo in general. Maybe some reasons are the same, but in general, it's never one thing. Disagreements with management it's a bit of a catch-all. that kind of encompasses all reasons that someone may not want to stay anymore. I think my only wish is for her to find happiness in whatever she does. It'd make me really happy if you guys could remember kindness in this time. I don't know what the future is going to bring, but whatever future is waiting for us, I hope we can all walk towards it together. Almost 5 years is a really long time to be in something like this. I was thinking...
Let's talk about the direction the company is going in. If we look at the annual market report from Cover, their long-term goals are to be global and reach a wider audience. In the last few years, they have achieved their goals of establishing the VTuber business and brands, so it doesn't die anytime soon, by focusing on their talents and fostering a healthy community. Stage 2 was selling goods globally, holding concerts across the world while hosting large-scale events at conventions and baseball games. Their current medium-term goals, we are not even in the end zone, they have more planned after this. As of this year, they have been working to push their intellectual property into other mediums like video games and anime, diversifying products and services for the creators' revenue, and attempt to reach a mass population with low awareness of VTubers. The Dodger event may have increased awareness. However, this was already targeted at people already familiar with anime culture in Los Angeles, for the most part, minus the 60 and over aged parents. Look at this map and the events they've participated in to reach a wider audience. In Mao 2099, Tokoyami Toa became the first ever VTuber, to my knowledge, to appear in an anime that isn't centered around VTubers and is herself and her intellectual property as the streamer as a natural part of the world. She wasn't acting. This relates to her VTubing activities. Every VTuber before this was either acting as their character or was an actor of their VTuber intellectual property. It was her in every sense of the way as a streamer and brand. Something that comes close is Usada Pecora in Death Stranding 2. While she is herself and her intellectual property, as a streamer, she's still acting in the universe. What direction could the company be going? What is the easiest way to gain an audience globally? Entertainment media. Obviously, as they continue down this path, so to narrow it down, we have two options. The other way is a clothing line. Supreme has done this, so it's not just entertainment media. First is to create films or TV, much like how Sanrio and our superhero films have crossed the globe, becoming widely available to everyone. Second option is to become a singer, band, or idol group. Hololive, with its current marketing strategy, has chosen to focus on idols and idol groups. The evidence? Look at the two recent debuts for Hololive JP, Regloss and Flow Glow. They radiate diva and rockstar energy. Nanabun no Nijuni's goal was to create physical and virtual hybrid idols. Hololive's goal is to make their talent strictly VTuber idol streamers. Both Ina and Narissa have commented on how hard they are working in the studio to create music, and Ina has been pushing out more music. So let's go back to that graphic from earlier. Even without looking at this chart, you can probably predict what I'm going to show next. To the best of my ability, since the Wikipedia pages have made it a bit confusing, this is what I count on their personal channels. Minato Aqua sang 15 originals and 50 collaborative or group songs. 45 of them are on her channel. Murasaki Shion sang 37 songs. Sakamata Chloe sang 31 songs. Nanashi Mume sang 11 songs. Ceres Fauna sang 2, and we will count It's Not a Phase as a third. Amelia Watson sang 5 songs. Gura sang 10 songs. Look at their reasons for leaving and the direction of the company. It would make sense that the people who have been with the company the longest and sang the most would understandably be tired and reject the extra workload. Since a lot of my data is from 2025 and things have updated since, here are the other two graduations from 2025, their music, and their time at the company. Chloe sang almost 3 times more than Mume, and I'm not saying that to invalidate anyone's achievement, and she still wants to contribute after the recovery, whenever that fully hits. Although she did come back once already for Shion's graduation. Adorable. Clearly, for both Mume and Chloe, the timeline wasn't lining up. For Fauna and Watson, they were not singer-focused to begin with. I love Ame singing. I love her karaoke, but it never felt like becoming an idol was high on her list of achievements. She mentioned shortly after debut, Cover Corp had asked in the interview if she knew how to sing.
And I did a audition. I said, well, you know, I'm not really that good at singing and I'm not really that good at drawing, but I really like to play games and talk to people online. They're like, oh, it's okay if you can't sing. You just start your lessons now. And I was like, wait a second, isn't that a really good sign? They said, start your lessons now. I'm like,
not everyone wants off the train. Many more want to keep pursuing this direction for as long as they can, reaching as wide an audience as possible. People have said this is unfair to previous talents and their work. They believe changing the work environment beyond what someone previously signed on for is disrespecting all the work they have done to help build the company and its image. I disagree. For continued progress, sometimes changes must be made. Hololive wants to give their talents an opportunity to perform on a stage and reach an audience like no other. They have a demand so high that the convention they host has to be sold by lottery. They have created 3 large concerts in Los Angeles and New York City, held a concert in Los Angeles for Mori Calliope, and they hosted a concert for their entire Indonesia branch. It's really good. I suggest watching it. I'll leave a link down below. Usada Pecora sold out a concert hall of 15,000. Hosha Marine hosted at a concert hall that could hold 20,000. The YouTube Theater in Los Angeles sold out at 6,000 seats in minutes. There is a demand for Hololive from the fans. Cover wants that demand from the general public, much like how people freak out over BTS. BTS has had a full collaboration with McDonald's around the world. Hololive recently had some with McDonald's Japan and Wendy's First Kitchen. I love that after 5 years it's all come together.
sugoi! Amazing!
Yago wants to achieve the same thing and reach the general audience overseas as well. Changes will be made, and while it is unfortunate for those who don't enjoy the new direction, the more it presents people who may want that reach and opportunity a chance to sign on and achieve their dreams. Mori Calliope, Takanashi Kiara, Hosha Marine, and Hoshimachi Suisei all continue to push their content as hard as they can, wanting to reach this audience. I know a few creators who would love to be in that position and have that opportunity. This is where the company has to make a difficult decision, to either support the old workers and train them on the new workload, allowing them to perform the job and maintain employment, or let all the previous workers go. This lets the workers decide if the workload would be too much for them or not something they have interest in. I believe Hololive would have offered them the required lessons to help them continue their career at the company. Keeping them on the old contract would cause an issue I mentioned earlier, where people would start accusing other talents of having it easy. Again, everything I'm mentioning makes sense to me. It is not confirmed, and other talents can take on more work if they want. I do not believe Gura will come back with a consistent form of content based on her previous history before joining Hololive. I believe it will last maybe 1 to 3 months if she does come back. If not, I hope this ages poorly. No matter what happens, I hope she is happy, has a good time, a good life, and the fans can enjoy more of what she offers. I hope she can continue creating content at her own pace without any requirements. Before you jump in the comments mentioning the new account and how she's been streaming, I'm aware. We are not here to connect the brands. Do not mention her previous or current branding. The Ian Sphere have ruined the system. Stop doing it. But look guys, I know the thing. I know the thing. Look at me. I know the thing. Someone notice me and give me digital numbers. No. While this all does line up, the rebuttal is correlation doesn't equal causation. This is true. What I have proposed lines up, but that doesn't mean it's accurate or how the events actually played out. We can apply this principle to things that have happened personally in my life. My friend's phone is missing after visiting the bar, so someone must have stolen it. I wake up every day. Aircraft are flying. So clearly, aircraft fly because I wake up. What's that? Not comparable to what I proposed? That's funny, because many seem to propose the same thing, saying the only reason the talents are leaving is because the company has gone public. which makes less sense than what I have speculated, and along the same logic as I have just stated in that analogy. Going public has the possibility of being true, and it can make sense. But where's the evidence? In the phone example, given my friend's past history, she's been a pretty upstanding girl, though she can be forgetful. It's possible she left it at the bar. It could be resting in her vehicle, or maybe it is in her purse, which I'm not allowed to search through. I cannot accuse people of stealing the phone if I never saw anyone do it, and if my friend has a strong history. Is there possibly other reasons? Yes, and sometimes that explanation should be accepted, more than the one that's entirely baseless, with no backing, since the only thing we have seen as a result of going public was this. At least we got RTX Marine. I like to be proven wrong. In this case, I hope I am right, with the result being a natural progression of the talent's career and the direction we see Hololive heading in. I understand the people who are worried about the internals of Hololive. I have my own bleak outlook about a different company with some recent graduations. There is a friend who has the same hope for that other company as I do for Hololive, and they have strongly debated against me whenever drama hits that company. Unfortunately, the evidence of an upcoming event may prove me correct. Greetings, this event has passed, and I was right. There is more to come, and it's unfortunate that I was right. I do agree that their proposition about drama being blown out of proportion is possible. I try to give back a fair debate against it, explaining the past evidence and recent events that make more sense than what they propose. I keep an open mind, hoping I'm wrong, but almost every time I've received confirmation and proven right. Thanks all for joining on this side of the universe, and I will see you all in the next world. Oh god, I pushed my voice. Oh no. I know the thing!